welcome everyone. Today is going to be a fun session. If you haven't yet, please let us know where you're joining us from in the chat. This might inspire us for some of our locations on where we might draw today. I don't know where we're going to draw. But today we're going to be drawing some landscapes. And you have not seen Emma's work, you need to go ahead and head over to Twitter because she is always posting her work. She's posting student work and it's amazing. I'm like, I need to print this out and start hanging it around my house and start changing the artwork in my house because her work is so good. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And again, please let us know where you're joining in the chat. And from there, I'm going to let Emma go ahead and take it over.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. I do notice people in the chat. I am checking that. Welcome. Hi, Michelle. Great to see you. We are going kind of coast to coast everywhere today, but welcome, Geometric Landscapes. We are going to get super creative today, and I'm super happy to be back. We did a session, Steph and I, a few months ago, and we did some portraits, but we thought we'd come back with another creative experience, but a totally different type of art. So my name's Emma Cottier. I'm from Victoria, BC, Canada. I'm a middle school teacher. I like to call myself a creative technology specialist. I'm a certified Google innovator. I work for the Cobblestone Collective. I'm an ed tech consultant. I also work for UpSavvy. And of course, I make yearbooks because I just like to design all the time. If you do want to stay connected, I'd love to hear from you. My Twitter is @EmmaCottier. If you want to share your art, I would love to see it. If you want to see any of my art, I post, and Steph knows this is how we've become really great friends. I just love to share and share and share. So if you want to connect today, please do. There's my Twitter. You will see lots of examples on there. This slide deck, I really encourage you to make a copy. I've made a bit.ly for you, bit.ly/geometric paint night. And if you've joined one of my sessions before, you know that I love to share. In the slide deck is a step-by-step tutorial. If you want to kind of recreate this lesson with your students, all the prep is done for you. I've put in lots of student examples. There's lots of freebies. There's lots of takeaways. So I'm going to just pause it and look at Steph throwing it up there. But bit.ly geometric paint night. Please make sure you take a copy. If you like any of the resources, you don't have to reach out to me. I mean, you're welcome to come say hi, but just know you have my full permission to use accordingly in your classrooms. It brings me so much joy to kind of provide these creative learning experiences for students all over North America. I do these quite often. So there's the link. I'll probably pop that again near the end because you don't want to miss out on this slide deck. It is action-packed. Our plan today, I want to introduce you to the incredibly talented Elise Dodge. She was born in British Columbia, where I am, but she actually lives in California now. So she's kind of that dual citizenship like many of us today. I know we have many of our Canadian friends joining today, but many of our American friends. So I want to introduce you to Elise Dodge if you're not familiar to her. She also has given our blessing to me. We've had conversations, and she loves that her art is an inspiration in classrooms. I'm going to share some of the geometric art that I do within my class to hopefully inspire some ideas today. And of course, we are going to have the best mess-free paint night ever. We are going to go away with our own masterpiece painting today. I always say this, but I love student creativity. It is so, yes, mess-free. It is so great for that problem solving, those critical thinking skills, just the student expression. I have kids that in my class that might struggle with writing, but when I give them a creative outlet to express their ideas, they blow your mind. And I'm going to just show you today just how students blow their mind. And I teach grades 6 to 8, and you will just be amazed by what students create in there. The skills that we learn today are also universal. And it just promotes that digital literacy, that digital fluency. And even if I'm going to be creating Google Draw today, but even the tools we use, they look very similar in other programs. And just that student engagement and advocacy. My students love coming to school. They love creating. They love sharing their ideas. And it keeps going for years to come. So like I said, my inspiration today is Elise Dodge, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about her. She creates these beautiful contemporary landscapes with geometric shapes. So she basically just with her camera takes a picture of her surroundings as she explores them. And some of these are in California, some of these are in British Columbia, some of these are in Alberta. And she just creates the most stunning pieces of art. I hope that I can meet her in person one day. But she does them by hand. We're doing digitally, but she actually goes layer by layer and tapes them off and gets perfectly symmetrical lines. But she reimagines the country's majestic landscapes as just these tiny geometric shapes coming together. Her shading and her detail is superb. So like, check out this example. Don't worry, we're not doing this one today. We're going to start a little gentler, but her art, there's just something about it that just caught my eye immediately. And so I'm here with her blessing today to create our own version. Now, here's a little bit of student inspiration. This one's inspired by Elise Dodge. She does dabble in a little architecture. This is a grade 7 student. So shout out to Maya. She was in my class this year. Love this piece of art. This is another one by Elise Dodge. This one was actually created by me. This is another student. So this is going to be similar to what we're doing today. This is Riley in grade 7. This is Kalmalka Lake, which is British Columbia. This is another one that I've created, inspired by Elise Dodge. This one, and this one's a grade 7 student, but you'll notice like the detail. This student has spent hours, but even just the shading, you'll always notice that things closer to you are a little bit darker than those further away. So the detail and the shading and the coloring this is superb. So this was made by one of my students just a couple weeks ago before the school year ended. These are also student created. So these are Elise Dodge inspirations as well. And you can see that everything is so different. And even within every painting, you can explore your own color scheme, and no design is ever the same. And that's what I truly love. And Steph and I are going to encourage you to do that today. Don't feel that you have to do the same colors, the same. You have full creative reign. And I see, Michelle, you've been there. Woo, it's beautiful. It's an amazing lake to go to. But we even do the geometric art with portraits. Now, portraits, we did it with the curve tool previously, but if you really enjoyed the portrait session last time, perhaps you want to put a little geometric flair on there. So a couple examples there, couple more portraits, and these are grade 7 students. So can you imagine if you have even older students, just the level that they can take it to is phenomenal. So always just showing you examples, because I want to give you that belief that you too can create beautiful art, and you will today. Don't think that this is like an unattainable thing. I'm going to show you just how, I'd almost use the word easy. We're all going to make a beautiful piece of art today. Couple more portraits. Stan Lee on the left, and I believe it's maybe Jimi Hendrix on the right. Sorry if I got that wrong. Grade 7 student in my class this year. Love the colors. I love vibrant colors. All right, let's get to today, because we want to maximize our creativity. And I know I've mentioned the previous one. We'll make sure that you get the link to the previous session. Steph will probably even drop it in the chat for you. But then you'll have 2 recordings that you can literally just broadcast virtually in your classroom and to create. So today's goal, we're going to create an 8x10 geometric landscape. And the one I've chosen for today is Mount Assiniboine. It's a beautiful mountain. It's kind of close to the BC-Alberta border. If you've ever been, oh, Freddie Mercury, thank you, Sherry. I knew I had it wrong. If you've ever been to Banff, this mountain range is about, I'm Canadian, so I do talk kilometers, but about 45 kilometers in Imperial, probably around 30. But it's a beautiful mountain range. It's the crown of the Canadian Rockies. So that's what we are going to create today. If you're on the slide deck, this is slide number 21. You might want to just take note of that. I am someone that likes to create. I like to have my inspiration beside me. So just know with the slide deck, you might want to just copy it out on a minute. It's on slide number 21. Now, Whew, that was a lot of information. There is the slide deck. So it's on slide number 21. I'm gonna always like to put Steph on the spot, but Steph, are we ready to start painting?
Yeah, let's do it.
Totally put her on the spot.
Are we using Google Draw today?
We are using Google Draw, and we're going to be switching screens here. You're going to see me creating live, and it's going to be like a kind of a step-by-step thing. Is I'm going to show you a step, and then you're going to do it, and then we're going to keep going, and then we're going to give you a little bit of creativity time, and then after that, we're going to come back because I do want to just share with you some of the just resources and examples, and I'm even sharing with you today some of my own digital prints that if you love them, upload them, download, upload, send them to your favorite printing place, frame in your own beautiful frame. But we're going to get there. Let's start designing.
And we are going to ask you to share on Twitter. So this is an interactive session. We want you to create with us. If it looks awful, I'm still going to post it. So again, we want you to create with us.
And I love seeing the final design. So if you've never been to Google Draw, don't worry, we got you here. But we're going to just switch over to my live screen here. You should just see a picture of my drive. I'll maybe just get, Steph, can you switch me over? I want to just show you how I open Google Drive here. And like I said, I would love to see your designs today. Sharing is caring, and it's about learning and drawing in. And I didn't just like wake up and make these designs like Michelle knows, because Michelle sees my designs all the time, but like it's a labor of love, and I just keep creating and designing and pushing my limits all the time. So when I'm looking at my Google Drive, this is how I get to my Google Draw most of the time. And I do this because I have multiple accounts. But under new, the plus sign, and you can see there's lots of art here. Don't worry, I'm going to share with you. Under more, Google Drawings is the first one. I like to think the fun exists in this drop-down menu. You can as well go drawings.google.com. But for me, because I have so many different accounts, like you can see here, it's opened up in a different account. So for me to make sure that I'm doing Google Draw with the account that I want, I go down to more and I open up Google Drawings. So go ahead, open up Google Drawings. I'm going to give you just a few seconds to do that. We all know when we open a brand new anything in Google that we should title it. So I'm going to call this Emma Geometric Art. Go ahead and title it. If you are new to Google Draw, this is the workspace. The checkered background means that you can save it as a PNG with a transparent background. You have the option to download as a JPEG, as a PNG. I love it. It's also very similar to Google Slides. So if you use Slides often, pretty much all the same tools exist in most. They're like best friends. They get along really well. But how I kind of differentiate it is Google Draw is where I create my like specific example, like a logo, a design, and then I transfer it onto Google Slide where I'll add my other things. But just know a lot of the art that I'm doing today can be done in Google Slides with all the same tools. So if Google Slides makes you more comfortable, please do so. Like I said, all the tools, all the features, I'm going to actually work all the same way in both today. Let's get set up with a custom kind of canvas. So I very rarely stick to the dimensions that Google has given me. So under the file menu, please scroll all the way down to page setup. And we want to do an 8x10 painting. So I'm going to switch this to 10x8, very standard printing size. This also allows you, I will go back and check the link if I need to. I will adjust it. So we're going to do a 10x8. And just for there, I'm just going to quickly make sure that you have access to my slide deck. Awesome. Everything's looking good there. So we're going to do a custom 8x10. So again, that was under the file, page setup, and 10x8. If you switched it the other way, an 8x10, it would give you a portrait like the more up and down. We're doing a landscape today, so we're going this way. A little fun fact, when I'm doing my printing, because I always want to make sure I have a really, really high resolution image, I will actually add a 0. Sometimes I make them 100 by 80 to make sure that I have like the highest resolution possible. That's a little pro tip. A 10 by 8 is going to do just great today. I'm going to go back to slide number 21 because I want to show you what I'm creating, my inspiration today, which is this one. So I'm going to simply grab it from slide number 21 and I will post it right here beside. So this is Mount Assiniboine, part of the Rockies. I'm going to post that in here. I'm going to give you about like 10 seconds to make sure you have your Google Draw up and running, as well as maybe you've copied and pasted your inspiration. You don't have to paste the inspiration, but I want to just I'm going to be referring back to it for our painting today. Just like those paint nights in person, it's always nice to have a visual of of the goal of that perfect painting. So go ahead, give me a thumbs up in the chat, or you say, I'm ready. You have your Google Draw open. You have your inspiration. You are welcome to do anything by Elise Dodge, or you can even just do your own beautiful geometric abstract today. I love it. Sherry, thanks for letting me know you are ready. It's looking like everyone's ready to go. All right, let's take a look at this painting. You'll notice in the background, there's a little bit of what I would call, because I talk in design terms, a gradient. You can do backgrounds. You can do a solid background color today. You can do a gradient background color today. I love seeing the end results, and thanks, Steph, for putting the pressure on everyone. We love seeing your final designs. So let's go ahead and set up a background color. To do that, it is a right click. And you can choose solid. You could just, go into Google here and choose a nice blue, and that's just great. We're fully supportive of that. Or if you want to kind of push your design a little bit, I'm going to switch next door to the gradient, and I'm going to go down for a custom. So a custom gradient. It has some kind of blues and grays mixed in there. And I have to confess, I don't actually think I always have this gradient thing dialed in as much as I would like to, but I basically go in and I pick some colors that I like, and I keep adding them and mixing them until I have, like, maybe I throw in some light gray, and I slide these kind of markers. There's probably a better name for it, but I just kind of like mix in some colors, and I keep experimenting until I like it. And I'm feeling pretty good about this one. So again, right click, background, choose a solid color, or go next door to the gradient. I went down and did my own custom gradient. We're doing a linear one today as opposed to radial. Radial will give you the circles. We're doing linear at a 90-degree angle. And I really just toss in a few colors. I did a little teal color, and I did a couple grays. And I just threw them in, and I got effect that I like. Sometimes it takes me a couple tries, but I'm feeling pretty good with this. So that was step one. We've basically painted our canvas, and we are getting ready for our geometric art. I hope it's going well for everyone. Maybe just out of curiosity, has anyone heard of Elise Dodge before, or is this a new artist to become familiar with? You can let me know in the chat. If you have time after our session today, I fully encourage you to either follow her on Instagram or check out her website. She's even done her geometric art on the sides of buildings and with glasswork. It's phenomenal. So check her out. She's very, very talented. One day I'm going to own my own Elise Dodge. All right, so we have our gradient now. You'll notice that this painting is kind of split into two sections. There's almost like a giant rectangle here. So it's where essentially the water meets the sky. we're going to go ahead and set our rectangle. And I will pop over and just remind you. So I'm going to just drop a rectangle in here. Yeah, I want to just remind you that there is, if you want to do this lesson with your students, I have done the step by step by step by step. It's in the slide deck. That's the beauty of just, you can recreate this lesson without having to remember like every single step. And Michelle, you're going to love Elise Dodge even more from today. And I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm definitely going to want to see your art. I'm going to add the ocean here, and the ocean, I'm going to do a blue color. You'll notice that I create my own custom colors a lot. I can be really picky about my colors. It's just the way that I am, but the colors in there are great. So all I've done is inserted a rectangle. It's covering just about half, just under, and this will be the ocean part of our art. So recapping here for following along, and that's the great part that it's going to be a recording today. So at any time, if I've gone too fast, and that happens, I get really excited about my art. Just know that you can rewind and come back. So we've set a background with a little bit of a gradient in there. Do any color tone that you'd like. Then I've just gone in under the shapes here, and I've inserted a rectangle that covers just under half. Once this is all set up, really it's just the beauty. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to zoom in so you can see the true geometric brilliance of this art. Do not worry about the bottom half of this mountain range. So anything on this lower portion, don't worry about it. I'm going to show you a super easy way to do that without having to recreate it. You'll also notice that it's like an exact replica of the triangles above. So in the design world, there's always ways to kind of like replicate. So we're only going to focus right now on the top portion. So anything above this horizon line. And you'll notice it's all triangles, all beautiful triangles. And I want you to choose really vibrant colors for that. So I'm going to zoom out so you can see the tools. I'm going to put my inspiration off to the side, zoom back in. You could, in theory, I know those that are kind of joining, you could, put her painting right on top of your workspace, and you could, trace the triangles. You could. I just want to tell you that exists. But the tool we're using today is this one called the Polyline tool. The last time we joined together, if you joined, we used the Curve tool, which was the 5th one down. We are going to be using the Polyline tool, which is the 6th one down. It works exactly the same way as the Curve tool. A click, drag has to be a closed shape, but it just has perfectly straight lines. So I'm just going to show you a little demo. Right at my horizon line, I'm going to click for the next vertex of my triangle, click, and back together. So I want to really emphasize it does have to be a closed shape. Like if you accidentally double click, it's going to do that. And because it's geometric art, it might actually work for you a little bit. In the Curve tool, it's more frustrating, but it must be a closed shape, because then once it is, we do a fill color. So I know I've done enough Elise Dodges. She uses a lot of like navies and lavenders and mint greens and some yellows. I've really done her work quite a bit because I love it. And we just fill color it. You'll notice here is the border color. I prefer to turn it to transparent. That's personal preference, because if we go to maybe one of my examples, back up here, I'll do Kalmelka Lake. You'll notice that no of these triangles have that black border. So all I'm going to do now is with that Polyline tool, and I zoom in. Zoom in is this magnifying glass. I zoom in super close. I grab that Polyline tool and I make triangle after triangle. I take off the fill color. I do a border or a fill color. I'm going to choose like a nice magenta now. And you can see that I have 2 now. I then go back to one of the vertexes, and maybe this time I do a triangle that's a little more spread out. And the trick with the geometric art to truly make it look professional and polished is to make sure that you do not have any gaps in any of your triangles. And to do that, you actually just can zoom in really close, and you can see here on the bottom of my pink one, there's like a tiny little gap, and I know it's probably a little nitpicky, but those who know me know that I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to my designs. But you are, with that polyline tool, creating triangle after triangle. I'm going to change this to a teal color. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to zoom out again. So you can see right now with my kind of art here, I've done 3 triangles, and I'm going to give you, I would say, I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes of creativity time. We're just using that polyline tool, making sure it's a closed shape. Careful not to double click. We're going to build up this mountain range. So you can see that I'm going to do a lot of triangles clustered around the center and kind of slotting the ones out through the sides. Because we only have like, I don't know, I'd say 20 minutes for this art. I won't be able to do a super complex one today, but I will do enough so that we get a finished thing. So let's go ahead. I'm going to give you 5-10 minutes. Keep adding those triangles. If you need help, let me know in the chat, and I am going to be building my masterpiece alongside with you. One thing, I'm really sorry to interrupt your working, but I realized there's a really cool trick that you might want to know. If you've made a triangle and you want to adjust it so there's no space, simply double click and you can adjust. So just know if you want to, like, maybe you've made a triangle and you want to adjust it, simply double click to get those purple dots, and you can drag them and adjust them. So I'm really sorry to interrupt, but just know if you want to make any changes to any of your triangles, simply double click, get those purple dots. The purple dots are going to exist anywhere where you've clicked, and go ahead and adjust. I'm going to check back with you in about 5 minutes, and hope you're having fun creating all these triangles. I'm just giving everyone about a 2-minute warning for their art. I hope that it's going well. Yeah, just let us know. I'm finishing off some triangles, and we're not expecting you to be kind of fully done your masterpiece. It's something that, maybe it's the summertime for you, and it's something you want to kind of work away on a little bit. So you can always be adding to it. I'm just going to finish off the peak a little bit. I haven't actually zoomed down in a little bit, so I hope it looks nice for all of you today. I am very much freehanding it today. Normally I'm looking at my inspiration a little closer, but we're going to go back to that in just a second. And maybe I finish off with one little thing here. All right, I'm going to zoom out. Not bad, not bad. I'm going to add just a couple more triangles over here. I feel like I'm not quite doing the Rocky Mountains justice, but we're doing pretty good given these time constraints today. This is also a good segue in math. If you've been talking about area, perimeter, I sometimes do this in conjunction. My grade 6s, we classify our different triangles, scaling, isosceles, equilateral. So it would be a great little activity connected in with that. And showing students understanding, you could certainly have them create make sure in their art that they've included all 3 kinds of triangles. All right. So you can actually, Stephanie, that's a really great question. And the question was an iPad. You can actually use the Polyline tool on an iPad. I believe the 2-finger click would come into play. I'm not fully fluent in designing on an iPad. I might go to, I'm actually just on a regular laptop and I use a trackpad most of the time. But a mouse works great. But yeah, it is doable on an iPad. The other thing you could do, like if you have younger learners, is you can just open them up with a slide with preformed just equilateral triangles. Like the younger kids, I would just have art ready to go with triangles so that it was more just, placing them together. Yeah, Procreate is great too. But Slides does have, I would just put Slides on the iPads, and it's pretty user-friendly. I do have kids that make their art on iPads. I'm adding a couple more layers to my landscape. I'm going to do like a light lavender, I think, to finish it off. Yeah, the pre-made triangles works really great with the little ones where it's not so much about, having all these different ones as, and then they can just, work on exploring color palettes because jumping into a lesson of this caliber, I would say anything kind of lower than a grade 4 would be a little ambitious, but you can always do modified versions where you have the triangles all ready to go. All right, now I could continue and add some triangles, but I have a mountain range all ready to go here. This is really important if you are creating to check back with the screen because these next steps are really important. Elise Dodge, I hope I have done you proud here. Given more time, I would add some more triangles, but I think I've done pretty good. This is a really powerful trick in designing is grouping together. There's a couple ways of doing it. You can click and drag where all your triangles are highlighted. Simply right click and hit group. One of my go-to keyboard shortcuts that I use all the time in my designs, but did you know if you hold down Shift, you can actually select multiple items at once. You just have to carefully click what you want. But this is great when you're designing and you want to lock in things together. I use it a lot actually when I'm doing smaller details like eyes on someone's face. But I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to make sure all my triangles are selected. Please make sure you haven't accidentally selected the rectangle underneath. Select all your triangles. We are going to hit group. We're going to group them all together. And I think I might have already hit group and then ungroup, but make sure they're all grouped. So mine are, which is great. So with this, when you group them, they lock them all in together. And here's the brilliant part. We are going to do that reflection piece. Watch this magic. Watch very, very carefully, and I'm going to show you a couple times. If you hit with your grouped section of triangles, if you hit Control D, it is a duplicate tool. So I have now, with like one keyboard command, duplicated all my triangles. So I'm just going to show you that again. I have made sure that all my triangles are grouped together. So I selected them. Mine says ungroup, but if you haven't grouped them, it will say group. Make sure you group them. Then with one click, it can select everything that I've grouped. I'm going to Control D to duplicate. Control D, or an old, I call it like the old fashioned copy and paste. Control C, Control V will be great too. Control D is going to duplicate it. You'll notice that the triangles are like directly flipped. If you were doing like the graphing translations in math, this will be a direct reflection on the x-axis. So great little math connection there as well. If I right click, I can hit rotate, flip vertically. Now be careful. If you did horizontal, it does like the left to right. Vertically will do the direct reflection down. So again, make sure it's highlighted. It's under your right click menu. So I right clicked, rotate. I'm going to flip it horizontally. Sorry, I did what you weren't supposed to do. Rotate, flip vertically. We want to flip it vertically and tack it underneath. So go ahead and flip vertically. And just use your arrow keys or your mouse. I flipped the other one, but that's okay. We can make this work. So I have now flipped it. I have the reflection. You want to line them up so that you don't see any space in there. So again, I right click, rotate, flip vertically. Now that we're getting really good with that right click menu, actually maybe now is a great time for me to just pause, check in. How are we doing? Were you able to group those triangles of yours, and were you able to flip them? So again, one more time, it's under rotate. We are flipping vertically. Flipping vertically is the goal with our triangles. Maybe no news is good news. We're all designing. All right. So you'll notice reflections are never like the true solid colors of our initials. So if you look back on our inspiration here of Mount Asonobi, you can see that there's like the horizon line. So we are going to make that. We have our rectangle all ready to go. So again, right click. Graphic design is done in layers, with the most recent item that you've created being at the top. So I want to pull this rectangle to the top. You could also duplicate it if you want to. It works great that way. I'm going to bring it to the top. Now you're probably like, oh no, my triangles have disappeared. They haven't. They are tucked underneath. But what I do under my fill color, when we go to custom, on the bottom here, there's a transparency meter. So I'm going to show you that one more time. I have clicked on my rectangle. I have right click, order, bring to front. So I've relayered my rectangle to be in the front. And I go to my fill color, but instead of adjusting the color here, I am under the custom menu going to adjust the transparency. And the amount of the transparency is going to be totally up to you. I'm going to be about at, the 50% mark. And so that would be about 50%. Now you might decide at this point you want to adjust the color. If you're like, whoa, Emma, that's like a little dark. I don't really like that as much. Why don't we even do a little brighter blue? We can turn the transparency. So you can play around with that. And I think I'm digging this pretty good. I'm liking the color, but it's just a matter of playing with that transparency. And I'm going to turn back that transparency up a little bit, but you'll notice in your fill colors, the transparency show up there as that half and half, that half color, that half checker. I love Sanjita. I hope I'm saying your name right, but I'm glad that you're loving this session. That warms my heart. I love it. Love it. I just play around with my colors until I get them in a way that I'm really happy with. So I'm going to even try like a pretty bright blue here and lower to about 50%. And I think I might actually stick with that for my final part of my image. So at this point, I'm like pretty much done this masterpiece. My only piece of advice is when you're creating a piece like this, make sure you aren't duplicating and rotating until you're done all your triangles, because now if you went back to add a triangle, you would need to add it to the top and the bottom and kind of do some relayering, which is very doable, but just be aware, do the reflection part when you have all those triangles locked into place. Some other little details that you can add from here. My students love to add like a little sun or a moon outline. They add to, like to add their own little twists on there, but I'll just show you. You could throw, your own little touch on there, or practicing that transparency meter again if you don't want your moon or your sun, depending on the moodiness of your background. A nice little subtle is a great touch. Once your digital art is complete, if you love it and maybe you want to display it proudly in your classroom, or if your students create work and you want them to show it. Now, you could drop something like this in the Google Classroom and collect art that way. But all I do when I'm printing my own personal artwork is I file, I download as a JPEG. I don't worry about a PNG for this one because there's nothing about this that I need transparent. I download it as a JPEG. Don't ever worry about going off the sides with any of your designs. And you can see now I'm opening up this JPEG. Here is my final piece of digital art. And because we created it as an 8x10, it's all ready to go to the printers. Depending, I don't have color printing at my school. Maybe you do, but you can enjoy them digitally or printed, whatever you prefer. Now, before we leave today, I want to just show you, first of all, I do want to give you congratulations on crossing the finish line of your geometric art. It is amazing. Like Steph and I mentioned, we would love to see your final examples, but I don't want to leave our time today without just giving you further inspiration and some freebies. So in my final sections of the slide deck, if you click on See is Create, there is, I'm going to, pop out of present mode again to show you, but I've actually created a digital alphabet of all different things I've created in my classroom with my students. These are meant to be things with slides, but like I said, slides and draw are pretty universal. They're best friends. They get along really well. But you can see that we make, infographics, we create element superheroes, we of course do research, graphs, we depict scenes from different books we read, we do novel summaries, we do a ton of things creatively. So that's slide number 38. 39 is an 11x14 digital poster of this Be Kind. It's this here. So if you want it, just simply download it, upload it to your favorite printing place. Slide number 40. This was, I don't know where you are, but where I am in British Columbia, we have Skip the Dishes, like where you can just order the food from your phone. So I made Skip the Slide design, and this was made during the pandemic to help teachers. But I've included this resource. It has more than 50 templates in all different subject areas to help you. All you need to do is like copy out an exact one that you'd like, paste it into your own. You don't have to ask me for permission. If I've given you something, it's because I want you to use it. So just know that that exists. Slide number 41, if you're into the Bitmoji classroom and you're looking for some templates, I have put some in there for you. Slide number 42, if you would like your own custom classroom banner, I have put in a link for you. That is actually a template link, so it will prompt you to make your own copy. If you are looking to kind of integrate some design techniques with your class, but you're maybe not sure where to start, slide number 44 is here to help you. It's called Level Up Your Google Slide Game. All you have to do is click Use Template. It will make your own copy. It's a series of 10 design challenges. And this is great for back to school. All you have to do is like pop it in your Google Classroom or put the link on your website. But we talk about reflections and making Polaroid pictures. All the instructions are there for you. But even talking about those transparent images, shape art, lots of kind of my favorite design challenges to push students to an kind of the next level with their digital skills. I am an 80s child. I own it through and through. I love it. I have made my own Google Slides edition of a Lite-Brite. All students have to do is practice with their color palettes and filling in those little circles. I do this one more with our design work because I actually teach a design course for students that are done early. So I have always like a few little extra things students can work on, but this Lite-Brite is super fun. If you're looking for some more Google Slide, Google Draw tutorials, I have fun with Forky. I've even done little videos, so all the prep is done for you. And 47 and 48, I'm not going to lie, are things that are a little more near and dear to my heart, is the art. And I've actually included 2 of my own digital prints, but inspired by local artists here in British Columbia. Slide number 47. I'm on the island here. If you're ever looking on the map, I'm on that big island that straddles the Canadian-American border. I'm actually in line with Seattle, but I'm a Canadian. I've included 2 pieces of my own art that are going to print beautifully as an 8x10. This one is inspired by Sally Podmore. She lives about 2 hours north of me on this big island that I live on. Love, love, love her art. I have done my own creation of it with Google Draw, just with the curve tool. So today I use the polyline tool. This is with the curve tool. I wanted to just show you that that exists in there. And I've included, and this one is a bit of my baby. This has been my most intensive piece of art yet. I think this one took me about 6 hours to create. And it is linked on slide number 48. So this is a beach. This is called Sombrio. So this is a West Coast beach here. You can see every little color is made with the curve tool. If you like this art, please just print it at your local printing place. I have framed pieces of my art up in my office here. They also make a great gift. I give them away all the time. If you are really interested in this art and you loved it, as I do, I'm an ed tech consultant with the Cobblestone Collective. Here is one of our recordings. This is a local Indigenous artist, but he's also an author, an illustrator, a leader. He is an incredible human being, Roy Henry Vickers. This is another recording through the Cobblestone Collective. You are more than welcome to use it in your classroom, and all you'll have to do is play it. It will go over a beautiful piece of art with you. And at this point, I just want to thank you so much for joining this session today. I will stick around just for a couple minutes to answer any questions that you might have. I hope you love the session today. And I'm putting the Twitter out there. Steph and I would love, and maybe Steph, if you want to pop your Twitter or Gold's Twitter on here, we would love it so much if you wouldn't mind sharing your art, and we'd love to see what you come up with.
Thank you so much, Emma. I'm going to share my design because, of course, I was creating while I was listening to you. I need to work on my colors, I think. I was like trying to listen and do as you were talking. And I'm like, okay, this is good enough for right now. But I cannot wait to see everybody's design. And so, again, we do want you to share on Twitter. So I created a template for you if you would like to use the template, or you can be creative if you want. And I'm going to post this link so you're able to just click. And once you click, I'm going to kind of walk through the steps real quick. So once you click that link in the chat, it's going to ask the amazing world of Twitter to check out your design, and it will tag Emma and myself. And we're just going to comment and celebrate your design with you. We want to see what you've done. And so after you have finished your artwork, you're going to go to File, Download, and then you can do PNG or JPEG. Either will work. Once you have that downloaded, you'll go back to that Twitter tweet and you're just going to drag it on up there, and then you're going to hit tweet. Feel free to add whatever you want to add to the tweet or reword anything, but that will make sure that Emma and myself are tagged so we can celebrate and comment along with you. And there you go. So there is my design already on Twitter, and we can't wait again to see what you have created.
And thank you. And Diane, I'm so happy. It was someone on Cobblestone, Darren Maltese, that introduced me to Google Draw, and I have not stopped since. It's such an impactful teaching tool. It's just even fun for our own kind of self-care and creative outlets. Can't wait to see your paintings. Make sure you have that slide deck. It is packed full of examples, tutorials, and freebies. So it was so nice to be with you all today.
And I'm going to throw that slide deck in there one more time in case you've missed it throughout the session or you accidentally closed it out. But if there are any questions, throw them in the chat. If not, I know Emma responds to me through direct message. So just tag her on Twitter or send her a direct message and she will respond back to you with any questions that you have. I didn't see any in the chat, just outstanding work and love the artwork. So thank you again, Emma, for coming on today.
Thank you. I'll see you all soon.
All right, thanks.